I'm having a conversation today with Christina, and we've been talking about her family quite a bit. She's a new mom, and so there's a lot of love in their home right now, and it's really good to see. It's really good to see a young family starting out and seeing how they're enjoying their life and what love is in their home. So we've talked about a lot of different things, but I'd like to ask you about the love for your daughter. Tell me about the love for your daughter.
It's really indescribable. It's like Kyle and I were talking about it in the car, like the different like types of love, like the love you feel for your spouse, the love you feel for your parents, the love you feel for your child, and it's like I'd do anything for her. Her happiness I'd put above anything else, even Kyle's.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a maternal thing. I think that love is a pretty intense love.
Exactly.
A mother's love for their child, especially when they're so new.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Like I tell Kyle, like he didn't really understand it until she was born, but I've loved her since I found out I was pregnant. And now I kind of miss being pregnant. Feeling her move around and all that stuff. It's kind of indescribable. The
Yeah.
love.
I think so too. I think I would agree with you, because I've been a mother, and I think that when you have children, they become connected to you in a way that nobody else can. And I would agree that mother's love is very important. When we talk about love, a lot of times we talk about soulmates.
Exactly.
And soulmates can be more than just your spouse or your significant other. It can be anyone in your life. Do you have a soulmate in your life?
Probably my daughter.
Yeah, because you find that love is pretty special, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think of when you think about a soulmate?
I guess somebody that you couldn't imagine your life without. I guess is the best way to describe it.
Right. I would agree. I would agree. It's as she grows up, I would imagine that you would have a lot in common, the two of you.
That's what I would hope.
Yeah. So you'd be able to even explore that soulmate idea.
Exactly.
Right. Since you're, married, what about the romance in your life?
I guess when you get married and you've been with somebody for a long time, the romance, I guess, I consider different. Like, some people describe romance as, like, coming home to flowers and stuff like that. I consider coming home to dinner cooked and the house clean romance.
Yeah, I would too, especially when you work really hard. You're both working hard to have a good life.
Mm-hmm.
So, romance, I've heard other people talk about romance, and they're saying that they don't necessarily see it as the wine and roses type of thing. They see it as doing those special things for each other.
Right.
Special things for each other that, like you mentioned, coming home and having dinner on the table.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree that that's pretty important. Have you found that your love has changed for your spouse as you've gotten to know him? When you first met him, did you think that your love was more like a romantic love?
It's kind of hard to say with Kyle because we didn't have the most conventional start. I mean, I've always felt something for him. It just grew over time, I guess. It was more like a friendship in the beginning, and then it kind of grew over the course of 2 or 3 years to where we are now.
I think that's a good way to start. I think that friendship is a good way to start. I think more loves last when they start with friendship.
Right.
And I've experienced that recently in my own life, so I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Do you think that your love is deeper now? Or how do you think that the love that you have for him is now?
Oh, it's completely deeper now. Now that I see him as a dad, it's just like you fully understand how much you love another person.
Yeah, because you're sharing that not only love between the two of you, but you're sharing that love for your daughter as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, and he's a pretty amazing dad.
Oh, he's incredible.
Yeah, yeah, you've got a good support there. Um,
Sorry for crying.
it's okay. Crying's okay. It's because you love your family. It's a good thing. Long-term relationships. Do you think that love changes over time with long-term relationships?
I mean, I think in the right relationship, the love is supposed to grow. But I've experienced both, where you've been in a long-term relationship and it just kind of dwindles.
Yeah, and sometimes it goes away, right? It changes.
I mean, the love, I guess, doesn't go away. It just changes. Like, you love the person differently.
Right, right, and it might not be a love that will keep you together.
Exactly.
Right. What's your best? What's your what would you say would be your saddest love story?
Is that including, like,
It could be anything.
relationships, or is it, like, significant others, or...
I would say that it would be someone that you loved, and it involved sadness in your life, that it created sadness in your life.
Probably my mom. Just because her and I don't really have a relationship, which is why I try so hard to be such a great mom, because I want to be the best I can be, because I've experienced what it's like to not really have that.
Yeah, I understand.
You know, and that's the thing that makes me the saddest, probably, is the non-existent relationship that we have. And it's something that I always strive to never have with my daughter. I want her to always know that she is so loved. And I want her to never, ever think she's a burden or anything, because I know how that feels. So that's why I do everything for her. And I would give my life for her, and I want her to know that. From now until she dies, I don't want her to ever have a doubt in her mind how much she means to me.
Yeah, that's really great. I agree. I totally agree. It's funny, isn't it, how your relationships with your own parents guide us into how we're going to be as parents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always had a great relationship with my dad. It's just growing up, I never really had that with my mom, which I think as a woman, you need that growing up. I mean, my dad was always great, and he tried his best to, teach me how to do my hair and all that stuff. You always miss something when you don't have that. And I look at people that have, like, amazing moms that are so involved in their life, and I guess it makes me sad that I don't have that. But at the same time, like, it's not, I have to keep reminding myself that it's not my fault.
No, it's not. But what the bonus of that is, the good thing that comes out of that is that it has made you want to strive to be a better mom. So your daughter will know that she's loved. Your daughter's going to know that she's got a good mom.
That's my life goal, is to make sure, like, she never doubts or has any question how much she's loved.
What's your happiest love story?
I guess it would be Kyle, because with Kyle came my daughter. She's everything.
Right. What do you think the biggest hurdle to love is?
Biggest hurdle to love is trust. You have to fully trust the person that you're with. If you can't trust them, then it's not gonna work. Like, you'll always be looking over your shoulder, looking over their shoulder. Like, you'll always be in doubt. And until you can fully trust somebody, you don't know. You can't have true love if you don't trust the person you're with.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest hurdle for a lot of people to get over, is trust.
Yeah, I would agree. And especially if you've been through some rocky relationships before.
Exactly.
So, I mean, do you think life experience changes our perspective of love?
I think you don't really know what you want until you hit a certain age. And then by the time you hit that certain age, odds are you've made numerous mistakes in the way of love until you finally find the right person. So I definitely think that you grow more mature and you grow to know exactly what you're looking for in a person. As the older you get, you know, because you learn that other things are more important than things that you thought were important when you were younger.
Right, right. You find out, I think, that love is not that fairy tale.
Exactly. It's not.
Right, right. And it takes a lot of different turns in your life to make you appreciate what real love is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You and Kyle have a really good relationship. Do you find that it's because you have a lot of things in common?
We don't really have that much in common at all. I just think that we love each other.
So opposites attract.
Apparently. I mean, we have certain things in common, but we have more things not in common than we do in common. It's just, I guess, loving the person for who they are is the biggest thing. You know, you have to love everything about the person, even if it's not something you genuinely like. You have to you love everything about the person you're with. And I think that's one of the things that makes Kyle and I so strong, is because he loves me with all my flaws, and I love him in spite of all of his flaws.
If you guys get into an argument of any kind, how do you handle getting through that? I mean, what is your suggestion to people who might be going through a rough time?
Kyle and I, we call a break when we're fighting, which doesn't happen very often. But when we do fight, we're like, okay, let's take a break. And we both just kind of walk away. Like, I'll go into the bedroom, he'll go into the living room. We'll take like 15 minutes, gather ourselves, and then we'll meet back in the middle and kind of talk it out. But when you're in the heat of a moment, you say things that you don't mean. You know, you have to take that time and then come back. Sorry.
It's all right.
I'm choking on pot roast.
I agree. I think that it's very important for a couple to learn how to fight appropriately, so that they're not saying things that are going to destroy the relationship, right?
Exactly.
I mean, taking that break is a really very important part of your relationship, because it allows you all to come back and have a conversation versus fighting.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And we've also always made the agreement that we would never go to bed mad at each other, and we'd never leave the house mad at each other. We never drive off somewhere when we're mad, or we never go to work when we're mad. We always work it out before we have to leave the house, because you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
When somebody leaves the house, you never know.
And it could be a lifetime of regret. It could be a lifetime of regret, right?
Exactly.
If you allow that to happen.
You never know what's going to happen when they leave the house. You know, working in the medical field, him and I have seen some pretty horrible things. So you have to know, like, it's a possibility, you know? Mm-hmm. And you never want to leave without, you know, being okay.
Well, that life experience that you've experienced, especially in your profession, has allowed you to see what happens when people separate from each other and they don't get the opportunity to say the things that they would love to say to the ones that they love.
Exactly. You know, like, seeing people come in the trauma room that were riding on their motorcycle that had just got into a fight with their girlfriend and were driving mad and crashed, and, you know, their girlfriends had never gotten to, know exactly how sorry they were, and I never have wanted that to happen.
Right. I agree. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate going through that. What is the best thing you think? Well, let's do this first. Let's talk about, do you have a favorite love story?
Not really. I'm not, I enjoy the, romantic stories and stuff like that, but that's not, like you said, real life.
Yeah, it's not real life.
I guess I enjoy, the real life love stories, seeing people that have been alone for years and then they find the person they're supposed to be with, it proves that it does happen, no matter how much or how long you're alone, there's always somebody waiting for you, Timing is everything.
I would say it is, yeah. Today I was walking, actually I was trying to park my car, and in front of me were two people. It was a very tall senior man, and he was holding on to this little petite senior lady, and they were just taking their time and walking across the parking lot. And it took forever. But, it didn't bother me because they were supporting each other.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And you hope to be that way someday.
Mm-hmm.
You hope to be that senior couple.
Yeah.
Holding up traffic in the parking lot.
Making everyone around you mad because they just want to drive and park their car.
Exactly. What do you think is the best thing about love?
The security. Knowing that the person that you're with or that your child, it's just like comfort, You feel comfort knowing that that person is who you're going to wake up to the next day. Or that, your daughter's going to wake up at 6:30 in the morning and be so happy to see you when she wakes up.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the best thing about love too. I think having someone care about when you wake up, and knowing that you have someone that you're gonna come home to.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really a good thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, this is GC Fierce, and I've been talking to Christina about love, and she's got a lot of love in her life, and I think that's a really good thing. So I appreciate you sharing that with me.
Sorry, I look like a train wreck. Please don't judge me by how I look. I promise I don't normally look this bad.
Oh, you don't need to say that. You have true emotion. True emotion
it's
is
just real life, Desitin, bananas. Just got done bathing my daughter.
And those of us who are parents can appreciate that.
Exactly.
All right, well, this is GC Fierce. We're talking about firing up love, and I appreciate it, Christina. It was a good interview. Thank you.
Well, thanks for taking the time to listen to me.
Absolutely.